Good morning.
ප්‍රියන්ත මහත්තයා ඉන්නවද?
බැංකු ගිහින් මැඩම්.
සම්පත් online banking. පහසුයි ලේසි කාලේ ඉතුරුයි. සම්පත් බැංකුව හෙට දින එළිය කරයි.
A very good evening. This is Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outskirts.
And I'm Sonali Wanigubadge. We start off first with a look at tonight's headlines.
President makes firm commitment to act against politicians associated with drugs. Several former UPFA MPs given nomination. Former President to contest from Kurunegala.
හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් තරඟ කරනවා එතුමා එක්ක මේ හිටපු අය තරඟ කරනවා අපිත් තරඟ කරනවා.
Chief Prelate of Malwatu chapter emphasizes the need to fulfill the changes envisaged by the people. Central Bank Governor is directly involved in the controversial bond transaction. Professor Rajiv Vijay Singh reveals.
President Maithripala Sirisena launched the National Drug Prevention Program today.
The National Drug Prevention Program commenced today at the Jayal Urban Council grounds. The initiative is undertaken by the Presidential Secretariat, the Department of Police, the Department of Excise and the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board. The National Drug Prevention Month was also declared at the event. It is imperative that politicians in the country distance themselves from illegal narcotics. I also wish to emphasize that if a politician is found to have been connected to the drug trade or currently engaged in this practice, the government will take every legal measure possible against the said politician, no matter what party he belongs to and no matter what position he holds. It is said to be impossible to formulate the budget without considering the taverns. Then I ask, are we a developed nation? We boast of development. We speak of developing our resources. My aspiration is to bring the country to a good position by 2020, where the income of taverns will not be required in formulating the budget of the government.
On to your developing story this evening. 61 independent groups had placed their bonds for the parliamentary polls by this evening. Meanwhile, several political parties too handed in their nominations today.
Leader of the Democratic Party, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, will be contesting the general election from the Colombo district. The Democratic Party, which will be contesting from Colombo under the leadership of its group leader, Nalin Pradeep Udavella, handed in their nominations today. Danuna Tilakaratna will also be contesting the election from the Democratic Party alongside Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca. We are doing policy-based politics. Our party always engaged in gentlemanly politics and we will continue to do so. If we are to make a change in this country based on policies, we will have to face this battle alone. Meanwhile, Anuma Fonseca submitted nominations from the Gampa district today representing the Democratic Party.
There is another lady contesting the election with me under the Democratic Party. Our vision is to create a good country. I believe that we can all unite and render a yeoman service to the country.
The Janasitha Peramana also handed in their nominations for the Gampa district today. An independent group had also submitted nominations to contest from the Gampa district. The Frontline Socialist Party submitted nominations for the Kandy district this morning. Meanwhile, the Janasitha Peramana also submitted nominations for Kandy today. The Frontline Socialist Party handed in their nominations for the Galle district today under the patronage of group leader Ajit Kumara. The Frontline Socialist Party will be contesting the general election from the Galle district as well. The Janasitha Peramana also submitted nominations for the Galle district today.
As the deadline to submit nominations draws closer and the Elections Secretariat announcing that nominations will not be accepted on Saturday and Sunday, candidates of the UPFA signed the document for the nominations to contest the parliamentary elections today.
Representatives of the United People's Freedom Alliance arrived at the Mahaveli Centre in Colombo today to sign the nomination papers to contest the August polls. A number of former parliamentarians have been granted the opportunity to contest the election this time around as well.
We're disappointed that certain people are making allegations at others and demanding that nominations not be given to them. I believe that rather than just jumping into conclusions about someone who has an allegation against him, they should come to a conclusion only if that charge or allegation is proven in court. Well, many people have allegations against them, but they have to be proven. The people will decide.
This victory cannot be prevented by anyone.
No, I do not have time to make statements. We have more nominations to sign. We are moving on well. We will win. We have new and fresh hopes now. That is because of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa will be contesting from the Kurunegala district. What the country actually needs is the Maitri Mahindi entity that will decide the course of the country. Recently we were divided into two, but today we are one. We are working today to create a UPFA government. No matter how tall the coconut tree grows, its branches fall to its root. We will definitely create a government. We have all the resources for that.
Convening a joint media briefing at the Abhayaramba Vihare today, coalition partners of the United People's Freedom Alliance hailed former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's candidacy at the upcoming general election.
We believe that despite all the obstacles we had to encounter, this is a great victory for us. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa will certainly contest the election from the Kurunegala district. He has already signed the nomination papers.
We have
received the nod to contest the polls as an alliance through a common list. Our strength was the strength of the public, and we have no doubt that various strategies were implemented to steal or prevent us from achieving a rightful victory. We are now tasked with the challenge to formidably face the obstacles before us.
Today
the people are geared up to bring in change. The 6-month break allowed us to realize our weaknesses while protecting our good qualities. We promise the people that after the 18th of August, we shall create the country's prime era since the country gained independence.
At the press conference convened today to elaborate on decisions reached by the cabinet, journalists grilled Minister Rajitha Senaratne on former President Rajapaksa being provided with nominations.
This morning we submitted the nominations from our side to the President. Our primary request was that nominations not be given to persons charged with drugs and other malpractices. I continue to maintain that all that I said previously are accurate. The President has to approve the final nominations list. He was a member of this party for 47 long years. He served as the General Secretary of the party for 13 of those years. Therefore he thinks more of the party than any of us do. He thinks whether he will be the reason for the party to split or whether he will be a party to a sin. There is the party and then there is the policy. He was vested with the party. He was asked to steer the party ahead. He has two responsibilities. One is to steer the country and the other is to steer the party. Several changes were made on behalf of the party. 6.2 million people voted against Mahinda Rajapaksa. If he obtained more votes and becomes the Prime Minister, that would be a betrayal to the 6.2 million people.
On to one of our headline-making stories. At a press conference in Colombo today, Minister S.P. Dissanayake gave reasons for providing former President Mahinda Rajapaksa nominations to contest the August 17th elections.
Certain individuals will be denied nominations. They may have been spared by the law, yet the people of the country make serious allegations against them. Therefore, certain persons will be denied nominations. We need to protect the unity of our party as well as the unity in the alliance. Moreover, we also need to protect the trust and faith the people have placed on President Maithripala Sirisena. 1 or 2 persons are enraged with us. Despite of this fact, President Sirisena engaged in discussions with such individuals from 8:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. yesterday. The former president is contesting. Several others too are contesting with him. We too are contesting. President Maithripala Sirisena is leading us into this battle. Last evening, we sat down together with Madam Chandrika Kumaratunga. She is aware that at this time, we need to maintain the unity within the party and the alliance. We need to carefully forge ahead, rectifying the mistakes that we made in the recent past. We must not allow for fraud and corruption to take place again. We cannot do everything that we please. Therefore, nominations were presented after due consideration. We will reach a decision today.
Chief Prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Thibbaduave Sri Sumangala Thera, was called on by Western Provincial Councillor Harshana Rajakaruna this morning.
ජනවාරි 8 වෙනිදා ජනතාව මේ තීන්දුව දුන්නේ ඔබට විරුද්ධවනේ. අපිත් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන එතුමා බලපෑම් තියෙන නිසා අපි රටම බලන් ඉන්නවා මේකට. රටම බලන් තියෙන්නේ. කතාපත්‍රයට යන තීන්දුවකින්
Minister Sajith Premadasa today charged that the former president had ignored the people of the Hambantota district.
හම්බන්තොටින් කුරුණෑගලට පනිනවයි කියන්නේ මේ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ජම්මේ ලැබුණු මිනිස්සෙක්. දැන් ඒ මිනිස්සයා තමයි මට කිව්වේ පිටකංකාරයෙක්.
He is moving from Hambantota to Kurunegala. He was a person who was given life from district. It is he who called me an outsider. He entered parliament and went on to become the opposition leader and later the prime minister. He then became the president. Who gave him the strength for this? It was the people from the Hambantota district. So I wish to ask, who is the parachuter? Who kicked away the people of the Hambantota district? It was former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and not anyone else. This is the most profound betrayal that has taken place politically in the history of the Hambantota district.
ඓතිහාසික පාවාදී.
A UNP Balamandala meeting took place in Veeraketiya today. UNP activists from the Hambantota district were also present.
United National Party representatives today placed their signatures for nominations to contest the August 17th parliamentary elections.
The nominations list of the United National Party is being compiled at the party headquarters, Sirikotha. A large number of prospective candidates were present to sign the document for the nominations.
Newsfirst Shamir Razuldain caught up with legal advisor to the President, Faiza Mustafa, this evening.
Mr. Faiza Mustafa, you supported the candidature of President Maithripala Sirisena. On the 8th of January this year, he emerged victorious. What is going on now?
I supported him then and I support him now, and I believe in his vision. He is for a secular Sri Lanka and for good governance.
Do you consider yourself as a close confidant of President Maithripala Sirisena?
I am a close confidant of the party, and I left the SLFP and supported him because I believed in President Maithripala Sirisena. I didn't join the UNP or I didn't join any other party, and I yet continue to be in the SLFP.
Mr. Faiza Mustafa, many are surprised with the inclusion of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa in the UPFA list. Are you surprised?
I think there are concerns because President Maithripala Sirisena won by stating certain actions taken by President Mahinda Rajapaksa, and he went against his policies. And I believe that even though President Mahinda Rajapaksa signed nominations, people have concerns, but I think it will be the vision and mission of President Maithripala Sirisena, and definitely minorities will have certain concerns.
However, during campaigning you said that President Mahinda Rajapaksa was not supporting the minority causes, was not in support of the minorities, and that is why you were stepping out of the previous regime and you supported President Maithripala Sirisena. But what's going on now?
I left because the direction of the government was not secular at that time, but I believe that the government of President Maithripala Sirisena will be secular, and I'm sure that all who are in the SLFP will have to carry on with his policies.
Who is the Prime Ministerial candidate of the People's Freedom Alliance?
President has not declared who the Prime Ministerial candidate could be, and whoever has the confidence of our group could be made the Prime Minister.
During campaigning you said that you wanted to overthrow President Mahinda Rajapaksa, and you all were successful. A return of President Mahinda Rajapaksa to the forte, to the fray. Are you not ashamed to be in this group now?
What I stated was that we want to throw the policies of President Mahinda Rajapaksa with regard to certain issues. And today what is being carried forward is the vision and the policies of President Maithripala Sirisena.
Policies and the people. What is the difference between this? This is what everyone is saying.
During the tenure of President Mahinda Rajapaksa, the country was moving from a secular direction. And that is why I left the Sri Lankan Freedom Party and supported President Maithripala Sirisena. Whoever is in the Sri Lankan Freedom Party cannot move from being a secular party.
What is the guarantee the Sri Lanka Freedom Party can give the people that we will not slide back again to what we experienced before?
President Maithripala Sirisena very clearly stated that nothing will affect the mandate which he got on the 8th of January, and he very clearly stated that he is for a secular Sri Lanka, and a large number of minorities voted for him.
With former President Mahinda Rajapaksa coming in to the United People's Freedom Alliance list, will the minorities vote in favor of the party?
I mean, we'll have to convince the minorities that we are yet secular. There are concerns. We'll have to address those concerns.
Are you not worried, Mr. Mustafa?
I believe in the President and the leadership of the Sri Lankan Freedom Party. He has guaranteed that the country would not drift to that direction, and I'm sure, looking at some of the statements which President Mahinda Rajapaksa made, that the country would not step back to that direction.
Will President Maithripala Sirisena and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa get onto the same stage?
I mean, I can't answer those questions, but we are one party. We need everybody to steer us to victory, and all would play their part in ensuring that the UPFA emerges victorious.
A drug-free nation leads to a drug-free parliament. Think before you vote.
Welcome back to the news. With some political parties yet to submit nominations before the deadline, the Election Secretariat announced that nominations or bonds will not be accepted during the weekend.
Issuing a statement earlier, the Election Secretariat stated that nominations for the upcoming general elections would be accepted until 12 noon on Monday, 13th of July. The Secretariat had requested political parties to submit nominations before Monday to avoid any problematic situation. Meanwhile, the police held a discussion with the Elections Commissioner pertaining to the security during the election.
It is essential that election laws are strengthened, especially on the final day of submitting nominations. Vehicular processions and parades are strictly prohibited. All such violations will be recorded on video and would be strictly dealt with. If a candidate is found guilty, it would pose a serious threat to the candidate. So we kindly request your assistance to hold a free, fair and peaceful election.
On to one of our headline-making stories. Former chairman of COPE, D.E.W. Gunasekara, says that it was the Prime Minister who made the first revelation on the central bank bond issue, while the investigations against the governor of the CBSL was ongoing. He pointed out that making such a revelation was a violation of parliamentary privileges.
D.E.W. Gunasekara is of the view that the Prime Minister does not have the right to convene a press conference and speak about the controversial bond transaction of the central bank. The former chairman of COPE said that this is in fact a violation of parliamentary privileges. He also noted that he was prepared to engage in a debate with the Prime Minister on this matter. I believe Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has made the most profound insult and disgrace to the Committee on Public Enterprises in the history of the Parliament. Today, the entire Colombo Stock Exchange, the debt markets are aware that the Prime Minister appointed Arjuna Mahendran as the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. They are aware that he committed a massive monetary fraud in broad daylight. Economists and experts have understood that such a large-scale theft had never taken place in the history of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The consequence of this is the single-digit interest rate had moved into double digits.
එහි අවසාන ප්‍රතිඵලය තමයි තනි ඉලක්කමක් වශයෙන් පැවති ලංකාවේ පොලි අනුපාතය ඉලක්කම් දෙකේ සංඛ්‍යාව බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Speaking to the media today, former member of the COPE committee, Professor Rajiv Vijay Singh, made a startling revelation about the central bank bond issue that took place on the 27th of February.
He said, I'm deeply shocked by the manner in which the government has been behaving and attacking COPE. COPE is one of the most important committees of Parliament, and even the Prime Minister had said it was one of the few that was working. You know, this is the document that was prepared by the Public Debt Department. It says very clearly, Department recommendation, take 2.84. Okay? But there is a note at the bottom, this is the original copy, and it was quite interesting. One of them said, no, government never told us. Then I said, but why in your copy does it say, Governor instructs stakeholder note? You understand what I mean? Here is the recommendation thing, 2.84. There is a note at the bottom, Governor instructs to take the whole note. But as I said, the Prime Minister is trying to twist. Ultimately trying to twist. If they had said we took a decision to do this, and we know it raises interest rates, but we think that's the long-term interest of the country, then there wouldn't have been a question. We could have challenged and said you shouldn't have done this. But why lie about it? Why say the governor had nothing to do with it?
He had a direct involvement.
The direct involvement, it's all there in the evidence. I'll give you copies of the evidence.
Cabinet has decided to revise economic growth after changing the base year to 2010 from 2002. Harsha De Silva, Deputy Minister of Policy Planning and Economic Affairs, convened a media briefing today.
There is something called the System of National Accounts 2008. This is a system that is accepted across the world. Sri Lanka has now decided to move in line with international practice. Therefore, we will be making an update and make several changes. The GDP calculated on the base year of 2002 was 9,784 billion rupees. When the base year is updated to 2012, the GDP will be revised to 2,291 billion rupees. The per capita income will be revised to $3,795 from $3,608. As Cabinet has been informed, last year's economic growth was 4.5% year-on-year under the new base year compared to 7.4%, while it was 3.4% in 2013 compared to the earlier 7.2%.
The Deputy Minister also emphasizes that the documents pertaining to economic growth produced over years were not forged documents.
I need to state it clearly that if anybody said the economic growth was 7.5%, it was not a lie. They made those statements on the 2002 base year. According to that, the economic growth was 7.5%. However, they could have updated the base year. However, it did not happen. It was delayed. After the update and revision, the actual economic growth of this country is 4.5%.
Former United National Party MP Buddhika Pathirana requested the people not to elect corrupt persons into Parliament.
Buddhika Pathirana provided nutrition food packs to underweight children in the Puhulwella area in Kirinda, Matara.
Do not send thieves, hypocrites, murderers and ethanol dealers to Parliament during this election. Why do you send them to the Parliament? To determine the future of this country and decide the future of our children? Think before you make a decision. If you are to buy an egg or a coconut from a shop, you look through the lot and select the best. But you hand over the future of your country into the hands of some murderers, hypocrites and thieves. Please do not play this game.
A meeting to create awareness on the upcoming general election among the public was held in Kilinochchi yesterday.
General Secretary of the Citizens Front, former parliamentarian J. Sriranga, attended the meeting based on the requests made by several factions, including the Kilinochchi District Trade Association, Agrarian Association, Women's Association and the Social Development Organisation of the Kilinochchi District.
If you compare the politicians here to the other politicians, some of them do politics by speaking like heroes. Some engage in politics without providing jobs to the people and solutions to land issues, all under the guise of development. To date, the people do not know who they are going to vote for. Candidates have been selected from parties, but the members know very well that the party isn't good while the others are, because their members are not that good. This is a current predicament. The Agrarian Association, Trade Association and the Women's Organization are here today. When you look at everyone's ideas, it is at a point in which everyone is indecisive. A lady who came here said that in other places they vote by the time they are 18. But here, they vote for the first time when they are 35.
We will definitely think twice when voting. The people must make the right choice and vote for development. As there is no proper organization, solutions cannot be found for our issues. The people are suffering.
You're watching the news at 9 on MTV Sports and Shakti TV. UMP Western Provincial Councillor S. Marika attended an event at the party office in Kolonava.
We heard the president say yesterday that a 125-year-old epigraph says that politicians and officials who steal state property will be born as dogs in the next life. He said that this epigraph must be displayed from the presidential secretariat to the officers of state institutions. When he can remember things from 125 years ago, it is doubtful that the promised serpents from a few months ago will be forgotten. However, the president must decide whether he will keep the serpent or chase it away.
In a letter addressed to President Maitripala Sirisena, the Friday Forum says it welcomes the report of recommendations of the committee to inquire into the Valikada prison riots in 2012. However, in public interest, the Friday Forum requests the release of the report of inquiry. The Friday Forum notes with concern that the Presidential Commission to investigate into complaints regarding missing persons regret that written requests to the Ministry of Defence and Ministry of Justice to release to the Commission names of persons who were in custody of prisons, detention camps, refugee camps and rehabilitation centres had not been complied with. The Friday Forum urges the President to ensure compliance by these two ministries in order to further facilitate the identification and location of missing persons.
Well, with that, it's time for us to wrap up the news today here on MTV and Shakti TV. For the news team, I'm Joel Outscourt.
I'm Sonali Wanika Badage. Good night.
Good night.